and received accolades such as the India 5000 Best MSME Award 2024 and an award of appreciation from the Pen and Stationery Association of India. As a mentor for the Asian Development Bank's Profit Accelerator program, he helps SMEs expand into international markets. Mr. Shah's expertise spans diverse industries, including textiles, pharmaceuticals, and software exports, making him a sought after authority in international trade and business growth. So, without any further ado, I'd like to invite Mr. Shah on stage.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Uh, all those who are wishing to get a cup of coffee, please feel free to take the coffee and come ahead. I'll tell you one interesting fact about this launch pad out here. There are no reservations ahead in the front row. So if you wish to come ahead, trust me, it will be much more interesting. Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much. So if you guys can come ahead. See, because I'll tell you what, honestly speaking, I have two people at the gate. They are going to close the gate now. So the purpose with which you are at the back, you will not be served. We will not allow you to go. Right? No worries, sir. Just wherever you are comfortable. For next about 45 minutes to an hour, I'll take through you to a journey which I'm sure most of you are looking forward to. But before we go into that journey of export and conducting export business, I have a few simple questions. And I will try to make this like a dialogue rather than a monologue, because please understand, I'm not used to speaking at home. You know, I have wife. So practice nahi hai. So it's better if I get, responses from you as well. Consider any top company from any barometer of your choice. So whether it is stock market, I know today's problem is different, but stock market, capacity, employee strength, valuation, gem and jewelry industry specific, any barometer of your choice, and try and look at their balance sheets or think about their business. And somewhere you will find out that the common aspects in each of these, whether it is a gem and jewelry company, whether it is a IT company, whether it is a textile, whether it is an engineering, all of them have one ingredient common to become them that at the top, and their good amount of business, if not more, comes from international business or exports. So when you are thinking that you want to grow, when you are thinking that and by the way, it is not necessary that those are all necessary 50 years old, 20 years old, and 40 years old company. There could be a startup which is 5 year old. I'm sure many of you have had interactions and visuals of the great Shark Tank India. And if you go back and look at their journeys, they'll say we started with 1 crore of turnover and we were doing some X number of sales. Today we are doing 10 crores with 10 countries, right? So the idea is very clear that if as an organization, and I'm talking to a group of people more likely who are ideally most likely the second or the third generation in the business. How many of you are a first generation here? First generation. Okay, fantastic. We still have first generation. Second generation in the jewelry business? Wow. Third generation probably? See. And when you are a third generation, I'm sure that the basics and the regular day-to-day activity is not something which you are here for, right? I mean, tell you honestly, आप जब नहीं होते ना ऑफिस अच्छा चलता है. So when you are there, it's a problem. When you are not there, it runs very fine. So what difference can you going to bring? And you're going to bring is try and look at global business or global sales, and export is something which you want to look at. How many of you are already into exports? Anybody? Nobody? None of you are into exports? अरे इनको एक कॉफी का कप ज्यादा दे देना. So that he keeps on having it. See, for rest of them, whatever I say, you're going to agree, na? He is the only one which has a problem. Agree, disagree, we will settle it separately. Okay? Chalo, good. So now that I have a fantastic audience, Priya, thank you so much for giving a fantastic new audience, because everything is going to be accepted for me. Very nice. So the journey, what we want to do is to create a small plan for you, that in case if you want to start your journey in the exports. And let me tell you, when is the good time to start export business? Anybody? Actually, it was yesterday. So trust me, it is never going to be the best of the best situation, because a company which started 10 years ago is also having its own struggle. The companies which have done in COVID also have got its own struggles, and company which thought, acha, today is COVID or right now is COVID, I will not start, then I'm sure that we have a new virus coming up. So before it actually happens, let's start. Let's jump into it. Somebody had an issue. No, wait. I will wait till the Trump comes into power. Trump has come, by the way. Abhi to aa jao. So if you had all those, acha, some had, what? I have a numerology. 2025 is a good number for me. Now 2025 has also come. So point is, do whatever maths, you will have to take the plunge. So we'll look at that process of how do you set up an export business. Part of it obviously becomes part of your business as well. But then obviously we'll have to look at it from an international perspective. So I have something for you as well. Obviously, the presentation is available to all of you for your records in case if you wish to refer it to you in future. But I'm sure if we interact, the message will be understood to you. So I have few steps lined out for you in terms of how do we start our export journey. Well, the first and foremost and most important is to decide. Are you willing to go into an international business? Because if you don't decide, nothing is going to happen. And let me tell you, my friends from the council had a challenge. They said, probably, sir, crowd may not come. Archana, the people who had decided and who are interested are here. They have taken the decision. Today, for next 45 minutes, you had at least 4 different things which you could have done. But you have chosen to sit here, and that's exactly what you have to decide. Do you want to give your decision of export some importance? You'll have to decide. And when I say decide, not just kar lenge, soch lenge, we will do it. No, that decision has to then support with what is called as action. You will have to act upon it. And when I say act upon it, please understand, export is not the stepney tire. You cannot use it when your tire fails or when your domestic business fails. No, you will have to consider it as your core business, which means you'll have to devote time, effort, money, exercise, do everything which is required. If you feel, na, I have a business to cater, as and when if I get time, I will do export. I'm sorry, that will not be workable. You will have to create time for it. You will have to devote time for it. You'll have to devote efforts. You will have to devote money. Everything is going to happen the same way how domestic business you have developed for years and probably your parents or your earlier generation has devoted time. So act upon it. But act merely saying philosophically is not going to happen. So what do? Let's look at the core actual, action points. Number 1, you've attended this. So good. Congratulations. You can clap for yourself. Yes, because you've acted upon it, right? You've come here, you want to spend some time. Fantastic. But this is okay, information gathering. Abhi kya? Aage kya karna hai, sir? Aa gaye, fir kya? So let's look at some basic setup, as we call it as ground rules to begin with as a company. So very first thing, obviously you will have to set up a company. We are all going to sell gems and jewelry, right? That is goods. Unlike services like I sell, or unlike a services what a doctor sells, he can be an individual. You could have a Shah Rukh Khan offering services as Shah Rukh Khan, But for all of you who is selling goods, jewelry, diamonds, products, you will have to have a company. So either you use your own existing company or you create a new company. So it will start from selecting the name. And you know what is in the name? Ideally, obviously, there is all you have a choice. So either you use an existing name or you create a new company basis which you want to start your international business. Anybody want to share the company names? If you want to have a new company, let's assume you want to start a new company. What would be a company called? Anybody? Sir? Shubh Lakshmi? Shubh Lakshmi Jewelers. Yes, sir. Kesaria? Kesaria Jewelers. Acha, don't wait for me to ask you again. I mean, if you have to have, if it's just Kesaria, I'm okay with it. But whatever, Kesaria Jewels. Okay. Anybody else? The ladies here. Ma'am. Sorry. Avian Jewels. Mars. That's it. Sorry, sir. Kashi Gold Jewelry. Very good. What else? Anybody? Sorry. Yes, ma'am. Jewela. Jewela Orna plus LLP. Very good. She used the word LLP. Understand there's some context there. Yes, sir. Amas Jewelers. Okay. Good. Anybody else? Everything is good and somebody has rightly said naam mein kya rakha hai, what's in the name, and trust me, all of these names are fine, there is no problem with it, but I have some small observations to do. Sir, I am okay with whatever name it is, whatever your name is as well. My only request to you is the moment you add a product into your name, you added gold, you are restricting the vision of people that you're only into gold jewelry. Understand? The moment I tell you Burger King, क्या सोचते हो आप लोग? हाँ, उसका बर्गर बकवास है, चॉकलेट मिल्कशेक मस्त बढ़िया है. Trust me. But the moment you add gold, the moment he's kept it, what do you have kept your name? He is open-ended. ज्वेलरी भी करेगा, इमिटेशन भी करेगा, लैब ग्रोन डायमंड्स वाला ज्वेलरी भी करेगा, सब कुछ कर सकता है. It is little more flexible. People in jewelry, I'm okay with it, but then probably you're not going to do only diamonds, or you're not going to do loose diamonds. So it is good and bad. We have Asian Heart right next door, right? It is good as an Asian Heart, but remember, Asian Heart is a heart specialist. The moment you think about a specialist, you will go there. But let's say along with the heart, you have a problem in kidney and you have a problem of orthopedic, you'll say, let's go to somewhere else, Leelavati or Kokilabin. Why? Because you want. So selecting the company name is not a problem, or having a company, but then you will have to look at. I have seen people who go little more, even more specific. They don't only go with gold, they say Rajesh chains. क्या सिर्फ chain ही बनाओगे? You'll not do anything else. Right? Right. Or they'll say Rosy Diamonds. Will you only do diamonds? You'll do diamond jewelry or diamond thing. So then when you are restricting your name, please understand the identity which you are creating. नाम में तो आप कर ही सकते हो ना. You can have a larger simple name and then obviously have brands or probably categories. Cafe Coffee Day is a brand. The company name is Amalgamated Beverages Company Limited, just for reference. Starbucks is a brand. It is Tata Beverages. So have a company name which allows you a little more, maybe a fashion. You might even go into the fashion of it. Maybe add a fashion jewelry, or maybe have a products which you may tomorrow start having golden spectacles. You can have golden buttons. You could have men's jewelry. You could have ladies jewelry. You could have other. Madam has added a word ornaments. A little, right? That was your part of your word, right? Your company name. Orna, right? So ideally when you are selecting, and I'm not saying कि कल जाके company का नाम बदल दो, घर वाले झगड़ा करेंगे. 25 साल के, don't go and say, oh, we are told to change the company name. Don't do that. If you have an ancestral name, if you're continuing, go ahead, but just understand this context if you are selecting a new name. Second, many of you just said the name. I'm assuming you would have contextualized it. Either it will be a proprietorship, partnership, private limited or limited, or an LLP company. Please understand, number one, you are thinking about business, and business is equal to risk. You're thinking about gem and jewelry business, more risk. And you are thinking about international business, higher risk. When if these three are there, it is always advisable that your individual and your business are segregated. Because if you are the same, the challenges could come to your individual assets, which is not appropriate. So having a proprietorship or a partnership format of a company is not advisable. So what is the best thing to start with? An LLP, a private limited or a limited? It also creates a brand value against your name for the buyer overseas. Because remember, you are starting into in the international business. A buyer sitting in a remote location of USA doesn't know you. He doesn't know your company. And he has to trust you as a proprietor. Take the other way around. Sir, if I come as a proprietor to you as an interior designer for your office versus you have to give to a private limited or a private company which has so-called team of people, whom will you prefer? Rest everything remaining same. Why? Because मैं रहूं ना रहूं, company में तो कोई जवाबदार होगा. That's your idea, right? So when you have no reach, you have yet not reached to that level, it is better to have, and I'll tell you most importantly, as I said, the risk appetite. When you have a proprietorship and a partnership, it's your. But when you are a LLP, private limited, business can go up and down. Even you can shut down the business. The airlines can shut, but you can enjoy in London. People understood. जिसको नहीं समझा चलेगा, कोई problem नहीं. So idea is detach your business with it. So LLP to start with, private limited better, limited better. In fact, I'll tell you a very nice gimmick available to all of you. Many of you will say, sir, we are 25 years old company, 30 years old company. We market ourselves. We are a 50 years old company. So, kaisa prove karoge proprietorship mein 50 years old company? I have to trust you, but I can't. Understand, na? Somebody sitting remotely, how will he trust? But the moment you're a 50-year-old private limited company, you have a certificate of incorporation. Anybody can search it online and it will prove that you are 50 years old company. Whether you did international business or not is not a matter. But at least you can prove you have a legacy. The moment you can be the head of the company, but are you the owner of the company as a director? I can look at it because many times they have fancy designation like vice president and the president and marketing, a CEO and the CFO. But then are you really the owner of the company is a question. So structure your company in a manner which you're thinking international, thinking global, not that you want to sell only in India, not that you want to sell to jewelers locally, not that you want to sell in India only, you want to go global. And when you decide on that, obviously you'll have to do your basic registration, which means you'll have to form a company, have a PAN account, get yourself a GST registration, and obviously a bank account. I'll come to a bank account little more again in detail. Apart from bank account and apart from the basic setup, if you are a manufacturer, how many of you are manufacturers? I think most of you or all of you manufacture, right? Or many of you manufacture. So if you're a manufacturer, obviously you can register with the MSME for your Udyam registration, claiming yourself a micro, small, medium enterprise. But problem is your existence by the company is only known to you and you. The world doesn't know it. So what is your company name you said? Kashi Gold Jewelers. काशी में फेमस है, मुंबई में फेमस है, इंडिया में फेमस है. बट आपको तो वर्ल्ड में धंधा करना है. एंड वर्ल्ड में पब्लिक डजंट नो काशी ज्वेलर्स unless you have www.kashijewelers.com. You have it. Obviously you have it. So your presence online, आप नहीं हो ना, आप नहीं हो physically, चलेगा, but kashijewelers.com जरूरी है. So your presence online is of more relevance globally than having your presence physically. आपके पास वेबसाइट है. How many of you have websites? Okay, not even half of a crowd. I have a very difficult question for people who have websites. When was the last website? When was it last updated? Congratulations. You uploaded the IIJS photograph, na? No? Acha. But none of you, right? Many of you. The problem is the website was just once created some days ago, some months ago, some year ago, and then we've never updated it. Put a formula. The number of times you change your profile photo on WhatsApp, you will update your website. Trust me, your website will automatically rank top. And the problem is we have issue is हमको best website बनाना है. Beautiful, elegant. How many of you have smartphones? All of you. I'm not asking for iPhones. iPhones वाले तो privilege category है. Right? And I'm sure half of you have, at least half a dozen of you have iPhones. If you have iPhones, if you are updating your profile photographs on WhatsApp and Facebook or Instagram, and you wish people happy birthday, good morning, good afternoon, and reply to post, you are overqualified to design your website. So don't tell me that you don't have it. Arey, I don't know how to take the good photograph of my products. You know it. It's just that you don't do it. Start doing it, making it. Your website is important. Having 25 years of old business, having a great business, telling the world that we are one of a leading gold jewelry manufacturer from India. And if I do not have a website, or if my email ID is kashijewels@gmail.com, तो यार ये तो झापड़ मारने वाली बात है. You are playing hot and cold together. Why? Because you are saying I'm such a big organization and you don't have a web domain. It may be that you have info@yourcompany.com, export@yourcompany.com, import@yourcompany.com, finance@yourcompany.com, and all of these emails goes to him only. It's okay. Doesn't matter. वो किसी को नहीं मालूम. But it has to be there. You have to have your website. A website, a domain which you'll have to buy. And I'll tell you the problem. This is the fast and the furious kind of a thing. If you don't buy it now, somebody will buy it and then you'll have to pay 1 crore rupees to get the domain only. And हमारे पास तो 1 crore भी नहीं है. Right? So better the day you decide on the company, the day you have decided you want to go global, even for domestic business, obviously it will help you, but for international business, it is a must. Half of you, the moment we end this session, I'm sure you will try and find out, ये मीर शाह करके कौन बंदा है यार, online तो देखो. My presence here is not relevant. My presence online is important, right? And not only as a company, you will have to be on your website in today's time, and you deal with people, you will have to be on social media. So, sir, सिर्फ website नहीं चलेगा अभी. You'll have to be on Instagram, you'll have to be on Facebook, you'll have to be on YouTube, you'll have to be on Twitter, you'll have to be on all the optional social media which is available. And I'll tell you one secret for people who do not know. Website, you'll have to pay the domain fees, anything from 500 to 5,000 rupees annually. But for your YouTube, for your Instagram, for your Facebook, for your LinkedIn, there is no cost. It is free. But I want that my website is kashigoldjewelry.com, kashijewelers.com. My Instagram handle also should say Kashi Jewelers. My Twitter should also say that. So jitra jaldi, the faster I book it is, because otherwise what will happen? My Instagram will say Kashi Jewelers. My YouTube handle will say India Kashi Jewelers. Then something else, because I don't have that name available. So your social media is equally very important to get yourself registered. Now, one thing which I purposely skipped out is your bank account. As a family-run business or as an individual, two things comes to you ancestarially. One is your family doctor. Choice नहीं है अपने पास. Compulsory है. वही डॉक्टर, वो अंकल जब तक प्रैक्टिस बंद नहीं करेंगे ना, अपने को वही डॉक्टर के पास जाना है. And second is the bank account. Your daddy, your father, your uncle started that bank account. Why? It was close by, it was near, they had some friend, वही bank account चल रहा है. But please understand, you have an advantage or you have a business to run, and that business, okay, sorry. Oh, where did we go? So, okay, I'll talk about it separately. We have a business, and that business is talking about international business. So one big advantage you have when you create a bank account, you can open anywhere, choice is yours, whichever bank.
Now, hardly we go to bank, everything is more and more digitized. But one advantage which is available, and I feel as a start, you should use this and make this as a thumb rule. And for you as gem and jewelry industry, it makes a lot of sense. Normally, you open a current account, right, for a business. Max to max, it will be an OD or a CC limited account, right? Fair enough. But as an exporter, you have something called as EEFC account, Exchange Earner Foreign Currency Account. Now, what is this EEFC account? Whichever bank, whatever current account you open, ODCC or a normal current account, it's basically an INR account, meaning if you get payment in dollars today, immediately it will get converted at an exchange rate of 86 point something or 85 point something, and it will get credited to INR. Tomorrow, you want to buy gold, you want to buy diamonds, you want to pay for some import payment, you will have to buy dollars by paying 87 and convert rupee into dollars. So you had dollars, but you had to forcefully convert it into rupee, and after 10 days, after 15 days, after 1 day, you'll have to convert back to dollar, and by difference, unnecessarily lose 1 rupee. Correct? As an exporter, and because you have a lot of import by default, by choice also, you have a call or you have an option to use EFC account where the payment comes to a current account which remains in the foreign currency, so which remains in dollars till end of next month. Today is, what's the date today? 6th of January. So today, if I get $10,000 for my exports, it will remain as $10,000 till 28th of February. Now, if you want to make the payment for your imports, you use out of $10,000, $2,000. Tomorrow you need money to pay some local payments. You remove $5,000, convert it to INR, choice is yours. Madam says, no, sir, I need tomorrow full $10,000. Today it got hit. You know, today you are in IIJS, tomorrow you are in IIJS, you are not going to make payment till Monday. Monday tak mat convert karo. Monday, convert full $10,000 to INR. Maybe 86 ka 8650 milega. Shayad. I don't know. That's not the aim. The aim is you have a flexibility to decide on the conversion of dollar to rupee. It's not compulsion to do it today, today, and today only. You have a bandwidth of full 2 months, maximum, minimum 1 month. So if I get on 31st of January, still I will have to convert it on 28th of February. But if I get on 1st of February, 31st of March. So this gives you a flexibility. So do not just open a current account. Why I'm doing this right at the beginning? Because the problem is now 2 things. Bank account and phone number. Kisi ko yaad nahi rehta. Everybody puts it in the system. So right in day 1, when you are offering, sending quotations, sending everything, you want it to be the foreign currency account. That's the EFC account, so that the buyer sends the payment to that account. If you need it today itself, at 3 o'clock you have received $10,000, at 3:05, convert it full amount into INR. It will probably take you 1 more email or 1 click of a button to convert it from dollar to rupee. But that flexibility is with you. That option to decide whether you want full 10,000, you want $5,000, or you want to use that money, that option is with you. All right? Does it make sense? Yes, no, guys, come on. All right. Now, this is obviously setup of your basic company, which is more or less there with you. आप सबकी कंपनियां है, manufacturing है, you are already into business, websites है, but you have to make it export. So you'll have to add some few more steps to it. So I call this the process where your company is now going to get graduated to an exporting company. And what do you need for that? You need IEC. IEC stands for, anybody? Yes, sir. IEC stands for export certificate. Okay. Import export code. Anybody still want to try? You'll are right, but partly. I mean, it is certificate. Yes. It is what happened select karte. Wow. Somebody says import, somebody says certificate. No, it is what you are saying, okay? But let me clarify the terminology because it makes sense. It is importer, exporter code. What is the difference between an import and importer? Import is a product, importer is the person. So the code is given to the company, not to the product. Today you apply for an IEC code, you are allowed to do imports, you are allowed to do exports, you are allowed to do goods, you are allowed to do services, whichever is legally allowed. So as long as you have taken an IEC code, it does not matter whether you want to do import or export, whether it is a gem and jewelry or artificial jewelry, whether it is diamonds or whether it is lab grown diamonds or whether it is some other things. So having an IEC is a neutral to product, neutral to import or export. Tomorrow you want to have, we have a machinery exhibition here. You want to import machinery. Import, hai na? You will not have another IEC. Your IEC is good enough. You are not importing every day, 24/7 or every month a machinery. But aaj to chahiye, you want to set up a business. You want to import machinery. IEC is the common. So all of you who have an IEC, your IEC remains constant. It's a very simple process having a very basic requirement. It's an online process. So we now have it, not an IEC, we have an EIEC, Electronic Importer Exporter Code. You don't get any physical certificates. You apply online on the DGFT website. Very simple. And another good reason for you to be an LLP, private limited or limited, because the data is already with income tax and ROC, the data automatically comes to the DGFT platform. Your application is almost auto-filled. You only have to attach 2 documents, pay the fees, which is only rupees 500, payable via online, debit card, credit card, internet banking, your choice. Click on submit. You can submit using a digital signature or a Aadhaar-based OTP, and instantaneously, a IEC certificate is issued to you. Instantaneously. And the good part is now you don't need to remember your IEC number, because effective of 1st of July 2017, that is the date when GST was introduced, your IEC number is equal to your PAN number. जो companies पुरानी है ना, senior citizens, you have a 03 number, don't worry, वो भी valid है. So don't get worried about it. हमारा तो 03 वाला कोई number था. It is valid. So companies having an IEC number prior to 2017, it will be a 10-digit numerical number. But all of you who applies now, you will have a 10-digit alphanumeric number, which is nothing but your PAN number. 2 certificates in my life do not have an expiry date. Generally, certificates are having expiry. One is my marriage certificate. अरे सच बात है यार. And one is this IEC. But little did I realize this was better until some time, because in my marriage certificate I have a renewal every year, and the date I generally forget. But very recently, from 2021 onwards, the IEC also requires you to update every financial year. It doesn't get expired if you don't do it, it gets deactivated. In fact, if you closely see, the certificate does not have a validity date, it has an issue date. There is no expiry. IEC once issued to a PAN card, that is to an applicant, remains permanent until it is cancelled by the department or surrendered by you. So whether you export, whether you import, or many of you would have, sir, I don't know, but my father probably had applied for IEC 10 years ago. We never did anything. Company आज भी अगर same है, PAN same है, same IEC will continue. You cannot apply a new IEC. Just because in last 10 years you did not do anything. You'll have to reactivate it, but the IEC will remain the same. Because once an IEC issued, it is issued for life. However, from now onwards, from a process perspective, every financial year, in month of April, May and June, that is the first quarter of every year, you are supposed to reactivate. That means update the data on the system And if you don't do it, it will get deactivated. Paisa nahi aayega, paisa nahi jayega. You can't do import, you can't do export. And if you don't do it in April, May, and June, you can do it in later, but then there's a payment of fee of amendment, which is 200 rupees to be paid online. But more important, it's not about that 200 rupees. It is about that hassle because you have imported something, it is lying at the port, and the best part is you are traveling, and it is most urgent goods required, and then that is the time you want to reactivate it. So then you are in a panic situation. And when you want to reactivate, you have to update it and you have to use a digital signature. And your good luck will be so good that your digital signature has just expired. So a thing which can be done in 5 minutes, you will waste 5 days, pay for damage, have a tension because your machine is lying or some product is lying at the port and you're not able to do it. Or you have got a first export order and buyer is like, what are you doing? Why are you not shipping the cargo? And you're like, sorry sir, hamara IC deactivate ho gaya. I'm like, wow. Out of all the problems in the world, this was the only problem which you were left with. And you couldn't have your IC updated. I can understand if there's a strike. I can understand if there's a problem on the port. I can understand if there's a Red Sea issue. It's beyond your control. But which is in your control, that also you could not control. Right? So make sure that your IC doesn't get deactivated. Guys, we have had last year and a year before, not less than 7 to 8 lakh ICs deactivated. People miss out, people forget, people don't think it very important, and then they come running at the crisis situation. We don't want that to happen with you. So IC and updating your IC is very, very important at the first instance. To give you an analogy, for a company, having a PAN card, having an ROC is your birth of the company, right? But having an IC is like having a passport. Unless you have a passport, you can't fly abroad. So unless you have an IC, legally the wording says no import or export can happen without an IC. So even in the remotest thought, if you think कि मेरे को export में जाना है, in the remotest thought you want to ever import something, then IC is your first and mandatory requirement. Once you've got your IC and you're thinking to grow in your export business, the second most important requirement is that you want to have an RCMC, registration cum membership certificate. Now what is this? Apart from that gentleman here, I think he's gone for a cup of coffee, but rest all of you are yet into exports. You want to start exports. And when you want to start exports, you will need some support in form of understanding the overseas market, finding the buyers, helping you understand how the logistic works, the taxation, the duty, something what we are doing right now, and guiding out to you. Now this job is very, very important from a government perspective because government is interested to bring every single dollar of export into the country. But the challenge is what you as gem and jewelry require and what your needs are different too from my garment manufacturers. The market is different, the process is different. And conversely, it is different for my agro commodities. They are perishable products. So to make sure that everybody understands that, the government of India, under the Ministry of Commerce, has created 39 export promotion councils, EPCs. They are product specific so that the challenges, the hand-holding, the support can be given to you for your products. All of you will fall under the Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council. And obviously, I need not share or tell you what a Gem and Jewelry Export Promotion Council does. You are right now witnessing one of their events as we talk about. So not only they will do hand-holding, they will organize these exhibitions, call foreign buyers, call delegations, but help you understand the process of exports, help you guide in terms of challenges, help you in understanding the overall in terms of how export can happen. That's basically the process of what an export promotion council can do. more importantly, my focus should be, it is single aim. I'm not interested in how you will develop your domestic business. Of course, they will assist you there, but the core area of an export promotion council is export, export, and export only. Finally, one small basic registration which is required is registration with the customs, because ultimately the goods are going to go out through the customs. So a bank account registration and a manual KYC with the customs on the customs platform called IceGate. And because you deal with precious metal, a manual KYC. Good part is, I think JGPC is working very hard with the custom authorities to make it more and more simplified. Part of that process has been simplified by saying, if you had the first order and your manual KYC is pending, as on date or earlier it was that they would not allow to export, and that was taking a lot of time. Now at least you will be allowed to export, but then within 1 month of your export, your manual KYC will be sorted. So process has been placed and the push has been done. I'm hopeful, and JGPC is working hard that manual KYC gets diluted or maybe gets more quicker and faster. Why are we doing all of these? It's like, filling up ammunition in your arsenal, because when you want to go out and start marketing, I don't want all these challenges to be faced later. Ye nahi hai, paper nahi hai, because then the buyer is not going to wait for you. So preparation beforehand is better. So you are on paper, on your platform, you are ready and you are good to go for your exports. Let's look at the third step, product. Quickly, let's talk about what I want to export. If I ask you for a simple question, what is your year today? Listen carefully, because this is where people make mistakes. You are here today, you are making export, you are wanting to start exports. My simple question to you is, what is the product which you wish to export? What is the product which you wish to export, sir? Diamond jewelry, okay. What is the product? Yes, sir, please. Diamond jewelry, okay. Yes, sir. Pearl jewelry. Imitation what? Jewelry, acha. Anybody else who wants to tell me what is the product which you want to export? Because to be very honest, all of the people who have answered none of them have answered me a product, they have answered me a category. Okay. Jewelry dies, okay. Sir, diamond jewelry is a category and not a product. You could have just told me the diamond necklace, I would be happy. And I know along with necklace, you could do 20 other items. But please understand there's a difference, because the problem is you are not expert in all the categories of the product. You are best of a product. The problem is we have to start identifying the product for international market. Whether it is diamond earrings or necklace or finger rings, is it a men's jewelry, is it a women's jewelry? Identify the products. Because then that will give you an option. You may think that product is very good for you, but it may not be the great for the overseas market. Couple of days back with JGPC, we were at Kolhapur and Hupri, and I always tell these people there, they are into silver manufacturing and they are very good at their product called silver pile, which is anklets, but they are only into anklets. They don't develop the products, which means they are not looking at the relevance of the overseas market. They have to change. In fact, they don't even make anklets, they make only pile. That's the typical pile. They have to go to anklets and they have to go to bracelets and they have to go to the other aspects of it. So you have to decide in your product, can you give that option? You may be making gold jewelry, you may be making diamond studded jewelry, but what are the products? And then when you list down, you'll realize that, I'm very good at necklace, I'm good at earrings, but I'm not good at finger rings. I cannot give them a range. Can you adapt? And when I say adapt, can you make chain which is not 10 inches but 12 inches? Because the market which you're probably going to go, usko to 12 inch chahiye. Aap kyun 10 inch bana rahe ho? Or the other way around. Or you are thinking, I am making 24 karat gold jewelry, but the buyer there wants only 18 karat. Banana hai. Do you want to step down? Or you like, no, I am a 24 karat guy only. So can you adapt what the demand is? And I'm not saying it is required, but because then you'll have to figure out the product. That listen, I'm not going to be able to cater to all of my products. It is a selection, because that product will then decide our next element, and which is market. Your wishful thinking today is to sell everywhere in the world. Am I right? But that's wishful thinking, sir. Your aim in next 5 years could be that. But when you start, if you start with every market in the world, let me tell you, it is only Bollywood movie के हीरो 2 बाइक पे आएगा और पैंट नहीं फटेगी. People will think about it. किसका एग्जाम्पल है? अभी वो सिंघम हो गया है, अभी तो गाड़ी पे भी आता है. So if you try to do US and Australia and then Africa and Middle East, trust me, the challenges will be multiple and you will fail or falter, because every product is not going to go into all of your markets. So when you decide that you are going to go for necklace, heavy jewelry, high value diamond studded products, then you will have to cater to the market. That means you'll have to select the market which is going to give you money, which is going to buy your high end jewelry, which is going to like those diamond studded. You cannot then go to a market which is a penny wise pound foolish. They don't like it, or they are not going to wear it, or there's a challenge. So Africa mein jaake diamond jewelry which is, you know, very heavy will not work. So you will have to decide on what is your market going to be, identified, cater down what your product is and what your market is. How do you decide on the market? Obviously, what is the demand? Is it having a relevance? I might be thinking, oh, you know what, Mauritius has a very good demand for jewelry market, but Mauritius has a market which is not self-consumption. It is a tourist market. So probably gold jewelry is okay. Diamond may not be a real thing, or maybe a fashion jewelry is something which is going to be good, because every time it is going to change. People are not going to buy a $500 jewelry from Mauritius and come, hey, you know what, I bought a $500 jewelry. Wow. But $50 का 5 jewelry लेके आएंगे तो मजा आएगा उनको. Because that's the area of the idea there. So you will have to pick and choose the market which fits your product. One strategy which I can leave you with is something called as free trade agreements. Please understand this context. We all understand that any country, if you're exporting, the country on the other side is importing, right? And when you import anything, you have to pay duties, right? So as an importer, as a buyer, my cost is cost to you plus import duty. Free trade agreements are a method whereby duty tariffs are reduced or even eliminated. India has signed with multiple duties FTA with various countries. An example for you is India UAE on gold jewelry. Normal duty is 5%, but we have an India UAE SEPA, that is Comprehensive Economic Partnership Agreement. So when you export gold jewelry to UAE, where 5% duty was levied to the buyer pays 0. What do you think? Where will buyer come? Will he come to India or he will not come to India? Obviously, he will come to India because he'll get 5% cheaper. Australia, silver jewelry with filigree work. Again, 5%. We have India-Australia agreement. 5% duty, buyer pays 0. It is not a benefit directly to you, but it's an indirect benefit to your buyer, which means the requirement for Indian products is higher in that country. That could be a potential market you can look out for. Selection of market. Marketing. Buyers कैसे मिलेंगे? How will you get buyers? Because product you have, market you have identified, company you have registered, नामकरण हो गया, but buyers नहीं मिलेंगे तो ये story मतलब ही नहीं. And I'm sure many of you are here, sir, buyer दे दो. Trust me, if I had buyers in my pocket, I would also be on that side. That is the most hard thing actually to happen. But there are some tools, and the tools are processed, and I somehow or other feel people to understand, and I want you to go back understanding this, that the tools are same and similar what happens in domestic. There are about 8 tools. We will talk about few considering the time, but understand this is something which you are already doing. Friends and relatives. I think this is one of the most important tool. Nobody in jewelry business needs to explain this. सबको मालूम है. एक भाई एंटवर्प में है, एक भाई सिंगापुर में है, एक भाई यूएस में है, and you are in India, first class धंधा हो रहा है. And when I say bhai, it could be friend, colleague, sister, anybody. Yeah? I mean, don't consider it just as a relation. Any known person. Correspondence, communication, personal visits, agents, exhibition date fairs, delegation, buyer seller meets, advertisements. These are the tools. And mind you, this is not in a specific order of preference. For you, anything can work. So obviously, friends and relatives is one of the best thing to start with. Because the trust factor which you need, आपने private limited बना के trust तो add किया, but still you need that trust. They need that trust in you. They need that guarantee in you, and more so when you are doing this high-end products, jewelry products, heavy items. That is where friends and relatives will come into picture. You need that trust that if you ship the cargo of rupees 1 crore, buyer will pay you 1 crore. Personal visits. Whatever I'm discussing today, trust me, is nothing different that you cannot get on a YouTube channel anywhere. But the problem is we don't have time, patience, and effort to go and search the right content and imply it. But out of all of you who are sitting here who have personally come, at least few of you will go back and do something on this. The impact of personally meeting people is much different than just doing things online. I'm sure you all have known it for yourself that your product जो photograph में दिखता है और जो असलियत होती है उसमें बहुत फर्क है. You will always tell your buyers, have a look at the product. Don't just judge by the product on the photograph. There are times where what looks very, very good on the photograph and what looks very, very bad on the photograph is not exactly. So I say, don't judge the people by their looks on the WhatsApp picture, or don't even judge them by their PAN card photograph. They are somewhere in between. So you have to go and meet people. And I'll tell you a funny part. अगर आप domestic में धंधा कर रहे हो, if you are doing business pan India, you are already doing this domestically very happily. You have team of people going to south. You have team of people going to north. You have team of people doing business. Then why it is that you are thinking that the same cannot be done overseas? Why can a team of people not go to Dubai? Why can a team of people go to Africa? Why cannot a team of people go to Europe? You will have to meet. It doesn't mean that every time I go, I will get some business. But when I go, I will speak to the buyer. I will talk to the prospective understanding. I'll understand what is the business. I will understand what is happening, and I can bring back the know-how. I'll bring back some inputs, and in many cases, obviously, business. But there is one challenge in both of these tools, where it is friends and relatives and personal visits. You need some contacts on the other side. You need somebody. Somebody should give you an appointment. You are ready to fly, but nobody is giving you an appointment. What will you do? And for that, what you require is what we call is one to many. You are one. You need many buyers. Big chunk of people whom you can talk to, and that happens in an exhibition and a trade fair. If I want to talk on the exhibition and trade fair, probably you will have to sit with me for an entire day, and that cannot happen at this point of time. But just to give you context, every year, whether it is IIJS or whether it is any exhibitions of a renowned stature in any industry, these stalls are always non-available for new people. There's always a wait list, which only gives you an understanding that why people who are participating are participating. They must be getting some value out of it. So what's your good name, if I may ask? Radhesham sir, when you participate in an exhibition, it does not matter who you are. It does not matter to the visitor whether I know you or I don't know you. The moment you are part of this international exhibition, you are there to sell. And if I'm entering this exhibition, an exhibition like IIJS where I've paid for entering, I'm very clear I'm not coming here to come at a Geo Garden mein ghum ke aate chalo. I'm here with a purpose to buy. Now you might be into diamond jewelry, I'm into gold, but I will come and at least say hello to you and see what you have. And like me, you will have hundreds of people which will effectively filter and get you 10 prospective buyers with whom you can go and meet them personally, and then probably find a connection with your friends and family with one guy and get one first order. 100 to 10 to 1, but वो 100 तो मिल जाएंगे, and वो एक दिन में 100 आएंगे, and you are here for 5 days, तो 500 people have started to know that there is some company called Radhesham Jewelers, somebody called as Mr. Radhesham, and he is into diamond jewelry. That's the whole power of exhibition and trade fair. You have to be an exhibitor. You have to be there. You have to be there to sell. The buyer will come to you. And that's the power. The good part is, as JGPC, as Export Promotion Councils, there are ample number of fairs which are supported, organized by JGPC, which can help you. And not only by JGPC, there are fairs done by the other agency where, but JGPC takes active role. By the way, if you wish to take a screenshot, it is okay, but this is available on JGPC's website, guys. And it is not just, I have just listed top 16, there are many more. So have a look at their website, you will have all the information right out there. So every exhibition, every mark. So if you are interested in a market which is US, you can opt for an US exhibition. If you are looking for a market in Middle East, you could probably go to Jewelex Arabia or a Dubai fair. So depending upon what your target market is, you could want to go, or you are looking at UK as a market, you could go to a jewelry show at London. Once you have started this, you will realize that yes, this is what I want to do, or this is what is happening. But in some cases, the manufacturer feels that, sir, I am little incapable of getting in touch with the buyer, or buyer comes to me, I'm not able to probably answer, or I'm not able to get that 500 converted to 50 and then 50 converted to 5. So at least I want somebody who can come face to face, at least they should know, because obviously in exhibitions like this, you will have a lot of people who do not meet your requirement. You are into antique jewelry. Nobody wants, let's say there are 20 people who will come who will not want antique jewelry. तो नंबर तो आ गया ना सर, 20 जन आए, और 20 जन क्या क्या है, किस लिए है, कुछ काम के नहीं है. So that is going to be a problem. In that scenario, we have a tool which is called buyer seller meet, BSM. So what is a buyer seller meet? Buyer seller meet is a ready-made platform where now, unlike exhibition where, sir, you might be into diamond jewelry, I might be interested in diamond or gold, I don't know. But in buyer seller meet, the buyer is identified for you. They know about you. And then when the buyer is agreed, yes, I'm interested in diamond jewelry, and then they are made to sit across to you. It is like that www.shadi.com kind of a scenario. तो फायदा क्या है इसमें? Quantum कम है, but quality है. You might not get 500 there, you'll get 50, but 50 are the ones who are filtered exclusively for you. They know you, they are ready to talk to you. Last but not least, obviously you can go on to the e-commerce platform and promote your products there as well. Finally, 2 steps quickly to discuss. We have next panel ready. So sorry, sir, to eat away your time, but trust me, 5 more minutes max. So, sir, I am exceeded my time. I'm so sorry, sir. Just 5 more minutes and we'll clear it. Yeah. There are some incentives which you are supposed to give, which you are supposed to get. Sorry. The government, when you export, gets you certain export benefits or incentives. Now, why this is important? Because then you can calculate your pricing effectively. Your costing to your foreign buyers can be more competitive. So when you export gold jewelry, you get certain amount of drawback, certain amount of ROTTEP, certain kickbacks or certain calculations. So basically it's the differential on the customs duty on your gold, which is imported by you or indirectly imported by you because you buy gold locally. To understand the context here is very simple, that when you are exporting, government is taking care of all duties and taxes are nullified and refunded to you. So you have the best cost only on the product and not on duties and taxes which you are exporting. Last but not least, do not forget compliance. The focus is always on product, focus is always on buyers, marketing, maal chala gaya, but the problem is the goods have gone and it is 24 carat, पर पेपर में गलती से 18 कैरेट लिखा है. There are 20 earrings, but they have forgotten to write 20 sets, not 20 pieces. So what you export and what you write, compliance has to be core of your process, because in India, we have, when you do a transaction, you have multiple agencies to deal with in an export transaction. You deal with the policymakers, you deal with customs, you deal with RBI, you deal with GST authorities, and obviously the hallmarking and the BIS. You don't want to miss out on, because the best part of a transaction is that you export, you get the buyer the goods, the buyer pays you, and you live happily ever after. Not that after 2 years you get a love letter saying, "Arey sir, आपने वो export किया था ना, उसका पैसा वापस दो." So to make sure that what you have done on the goods is recorded correctly and you've complied with it. All right, guys, as mentioned, I have exceeded my time limit. So finally, I have to tell thank you to all of you for your patient hearing. You were a wonderful audience. I hope you had a lovely time. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Mr. Shah. That was indeed a very insightful session. I'd like to call Mr. Vikrant Pradhan, who's the Deputy Director, Events and CRM, GJAPC, to felicitate Mr. Shah. Thank you everyone for being a lovely audience. We have another session immediately after this one, so requesting all to be seated and we'll begin shortly. Thank you.